When you actually get into the moment, when you're actually in the court and you've got all these people who are all asking questions and looking at you, and it's terrifying. Your children are at stake here. There's a good possibility that you will lose your children if you get these things wrong. So one of the things that you can do is to prepare a statement for the court. Now, you would generally hand that in with the court bundle and the rest of the things that go into the court, so that they all go in at the same time. There's only one risk with a prepared statement. If you can imagine going into the court when the social services and everybody else who's hell-bent against you is looking for a way to get through to demoralise you and disrespect you and to deceive the court about you, they will look through your statement to see what they can tag on to, what they can use as an excuse. So the trick with these things is only tell them what they already know and give your explanation for what they're accusing you of, because the chances are they're going to be accusing you of all sorts of things, and they will try and catch you out on the actual day of the court. They will come up with some things that you just had no idea about, and you have to then explain to the judge, I did not receive any advance warning that this question was going to be asked, Your Honour. I have not got a prepared answer. But everything else that they ask you, you will have these answers already written down on your statement. It's a little bit tricky. If you've any doubts, please, by all means, just give us a call. It'll only take 2 minutes or 3 minutes to explain. But the danger is that you give away too much information. Keeping in mind, if you say too much, they don't listen. If you write too much, they don't read it. That's true of everyone, that's just human nature. Write it down straight from the heart. Everyone will appreciate that. And then try and shorten it to the minimum. Keeping in mind, when you do a prepared statement for the family court, you're only there for your children. Forget everyone else. If you get into an argument with anyone, they will argue back. That makes you as bad as they do. So the best thing to do is to go into the court as the accuser, not the accused. Difficult thing to get your head round. And like I say, you can phone us anytime and I'll go through it with you again. But the thing is that if you don't bite, they'll be giving you stuff to make you angry. They will say things that are really vile and horrible to make you upset and destabilise you in front of the judge. So you have to defend yourself against those questions. Lots of responses you can give. You can say, I don't like the implications of that question. Another thing you can say is, well, that's just speculation, or that's hearsay, or that's you supposing, that's like conjecture. If somebody's like presuming that there's a series of events that will make you a villain, that does not make you a villain. It's just somebody adding 2 and 2 and getting 5. Those are the kind of questions you need to watch out with. Keep in mind that these people are asking these questions every day of their working lives. They know exactly what they're going to say, and they know exactly how to say it, and they know which buttons to press to upset you. Fine. In that case, as soon as they ask you a prepared question, you destabilise them and just say to the judge, remember, if anyone asks you a question, you look at the judge. I'll explain why in a minute. But if anyone asks you a question, you look at the judge and say, I don't understand that question, or I do not like the implications of that question. And then I look at the person who's asking you and say, can you rephrase that, please? That destabilises them. All of a sudden, the questions that they've been asking for years and years are suddenly called into question. They have to think of another way of putting it. And I can guarantee they'll put it in such a way that you can give a yes or no answer, because they don't know what else to do other than the one question that they've already got in their mind. So destabilise them and let the judge see that they were being manipulative. Getting back to looking at the judge, you are obviously, if you're going through all this trauma and stress and upset and everything else, and all your money's going down the drain simply to keep your own children, you're obviously distressed and upset about that. So the thing to do is to just look at the judge, only answer questions about your children. If it's anything else, I only want my children back. I'm not interested in arguing about something that happened between your ex and whatever. That's in the past. There's nothing we can do about that, and you have to take these things into context. The one thing to remember about these things that are in the past is you cannot change them. And people will take one incident and put it out of context to say that it was a violent act or whatever, when really you cannot prove something did not happen. That's impossible. You cannot prove an event never happened. So there's no point. The only thing you're there for is to prove to the judge that you are a loving, caring, devoted parent. So you look the judge straight in the face and you let them see the love and devotion and the sincerity in your heart. Don't look away. It looks as a bit shady. If somebody's talking to you and they're looking away, that looks a bit dodgy. If they're looking you straight in the face, you know they're telling the truth, or there's a pretty good chance they're telling you the truth. But the main thing is, when you talk to parents about the children, you watch their face change, and suddenly there's like a warm glow and a friendliness and a warmth about their voice and in their expressions. That's the kind of thing that a judge will pick on when you talk to a judge, when you look at a judge. Every chance you get, look the judge straight in the face with sincerity and talk to them from the heart. You are having a conversation with a judge about the children. Just the judge and you. No one else matters. And there's only one judge in a court. There's only one person who will make the decisions, and that is the judge. Sorry to be so harsh on you, but this is what you need. You need somebody to talk to you like that, and somebody to coach you in this, to make sure that you only look at the judge when you're answering questions. And anything that's trivial or by the way or in the past or what's projected into the future, well, in future you'll let your child down. No, you won't. That's conjecture, because you're supposing that something's going to happen in the future. You cannot possibly defend against that. The same way that you cannot possibly defend yourself against something that's happened if you weren't there at the time. Very difficult thing for anybody to get their head around, especially at first when everybody's firing questions at you. So remember, number one, ask them to rephrase the question. Number two, never answer a question straight away. Never. Take a breath. You can hang on 30 seconds. And that frightens people. It means you're thinking about your answer, which you should do. And that unnerves them, that destabilises them. So never ask a question straight away. If you want to, take a very deep breath before you answer, and then answer it to the judge. The other thing to remember is, if you're doing a prepared statement, like I've just been talking about, if you're doing a prepared statement, make sure you've got something in reserve that you can bring to the court while they're under oath. Because when a social worker or whoever has been, let's just say, misleading the court about you, they have a choice. They're between the devil and the deep blue sea when they're under oath. They must either admit that they deceived the court, which is contempt of court. If you deliberately put a statement which is false into the court, that's contempt. could be even worse. It could be malice aforethought. If they knew the consequences of what their deceit had actually, or the damage that they'd caused by this deceit, if you can prove that. So they're really very, very vulnerable. They don't want to be doing that. I'm sure they'll be advised not to do that, never to admit that they made a false report. If you can prove that it was a false report, that means they were committing perjury. It's a difficult thing to get your head around, but they can either lie about it or they can admit giving a false report. Either way, you win. We've had amazing results by people doing this. These are the things to remember when you go to a family court, what you should and what you should not be doing. We're making headway and we're making progress on this. We have to stick together and we all have to do the same things. But a lot of people won't work with us because I'll admit, we are challenging and we're very vocal. We have a lot of cases where we have configured a case, it's gone to court, bingo, everything's successful, the children are on their way home. Somebody from Facebook or a social media has posted something and straight away social service have said, well, Your Honour, this was said. And then suddenly those people have lost their children. This has happened more than once, more than twice. I can guarantee you it will happen again. Maybe 6-7 times a year we come across one of these, where it's a single post on social media that had the judge reverse the original decision in favour of social services. Please subscribe if you haven't done already and tick on the bell for notifications and click a like if you liked the video. Thanks for listening, I do appreciate it. Thank you.